welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode. We got a big episode this week as we talk about MSC and their big expansion. I mean, in general, but also just into Port Canaveral specifically, as they've announced several ships that are coming here soon. But of course, we got a big announcement from Royal Caribbean today about their short cruises deployments. So we are going to touch on that here. So we're going to kind of work in both topics, but our main one, of course, is MSC. But before we get started, welcome back to Dimitri and Justin. What's going on, guys?
Hello.
But yeah, anyways, we'll go ahead and jump right in. Of course, we've got the seashore here, and honestly, MSC wasn't even here in Port Canaveral until really just recently. They put the Divina out of COVID was the one ship that we got, and of course, being kind of the smaller one, of course, it was kind of just a way to test their feet, really, and just test the waters for Canaveral, because they've really just been primarily Miami up until recently.
Very true.
They need to, what do you call it? Like, say to the competition, like, we're directly coming for you guys instead of like slithering in, because they're going to come out of nowhere, and by the time they react, they'll be taking over everybody.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, is it really seems like they are coming for everybody at the moment. I don't know if they're like kind of slithering in behind everybody, but at the same time, they're kind of making it well known, like, hey, we're here to take over. But of course, like, their huge expansion just in North America in general. I mean, it started with the Seaside, of course. That was like their first purpose-built U.S. ship. It's still in Miami. Of course, it's gone other places, over the years. But, Seaside was kind of that first push into the U.S., and it seemed to do well. They brought in Miravilia over time. They brought her into Canaveral. But I think with that initial push with, the Seaside, it was more of a, who are these guys, back then. That was, of course, 2017. But now they've got, we're on the heels of World America coming out in about a month and a half, and now everybody's like, oh, they've got a big one coming out now. You know what I mean?
Very true.
But and of course over the past couple of years, it's been really, they've moved their way into Canaveral, then they moved their way up into New York, and then even later this year they're going to move over into Texas. But with the Seascape. But in Canaveral, I mean, now that we've worked our way all the way up to Seashore, we're adding Grandiosa later this year.
I like how they're bringing both classes of ships here.
Right.
Because, like, sure, Seaside is made for the Caribbean, and they either, bounce between here, the European market, or like the Brazilian market. But, for them to bring another one, here for another season, that's great. And I mean, Grandiosa, we've only had Miravilia coming in here from New York.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for it to be here in Florida and see what people think about it, because as much as people have mixed reviews on the Seaside ones, which were built for the Caribbean,
mm-hmm.
those ones weren't necessarily. So I wonder how that's going to be portrayed.
Right, for sure. I mean, we had Miravilia here for like a couple months in Port Canaveral, but it really wasn't long enough to really get a grasp. And that was also, I feel like, the time where MSC was still kind of getting their footing, where it was, some ships were good, some ships were meh, and, it was either you love it or you hate it, but there was like no in between. I know I personally didn't have the greatest experience on Seashore, but I do think it's a one-off, because I've heard nothing but really, really good things coming out of the Seashore recently. So I think I just got a dud, which is why I would very much like to go on MSC again soon. But with Miravilia, but to your point, getting multiple classes here, I mean, it's, right now it is our only option here in Canaveral is just that seaside class. Being able to do something different. It's kind of like, we're getting multiple classes of ships with Carnival, or Royal Caribbean. Like, we have more options. We have more than one, to choose from here.
The more ships they can bring to the market, the better, honestly, because there's definitely competition. If they're going to put their foot in the door, you better put the whole foot in, not just the pinky toe.
Oh, no, they're diving in deep. I think they're jumping waist deep water right now. It really seems like. I mean, Grandiosa is a great ship too. It's huge. It's the Meraviglia Plus, so that's about a good 15-ish thousand tons larger than Meraviglia. So I mean, just a bigger version of it. But at the same time, like, that is an incredible looking ship. It's beautiful on the inside. I don't think they have the bumper cars like the world
shiny
class.
Ship. What do you call it? Most shiny cruise. That's what it is.
They kind of are. Lots of reflective things, lots of mirrors, lots of chrome. They're very shiny.
Yeah, I've always been interested by that. It's like how a lot of the newer MSC ships are. So it's interesting that they went with that kind of design.
Mm-hmm. I think it tries to fit that luxury aesthetic, and I think it does a good job. So I think it flows well with all those crystal staircases that they put in there. I think it just flows with the aesthetic.
By chance, do you have like the itineraries in front of you? Like, where is she going? Like, what is she doing specifically?
I can pull it up. I know there, of course, because I've been looking at it, but we can't do it because we're on Joy. But there is a couple 3 and 4s thrown in there. But I think it's because Seascape's got a dry dock coming up soon. But
that ship's almost 5 years old.
I know.
And
that's the crazy part.
What isn't Seaside like 20?
Seaside
17?
was Seaside was the end of 17.
I was gonna say that's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, other 2017 ships would be what? Escape. Escape was 17, right? Or
She was 15.
15.
Joy was 17.
Oh, Breakaway and Getaway were 13 and 14.
Yes.
Yeah.
16 was the gap in those
Joy
ships.
here.
Yeah.
And then Oasis was still, I mean, those classes, Harmony and Symphony, were kind of already done.
So let's see. Grandiosa from Port Canaveral. So I did notice in the few times that I have looked, I know that she isn't going to Ocean Key, which is interesting. Those 3 and 4 nights are.
But the 7s aren't?
But the 7s are not.
That's
Also,
weird.
The prices have also gone up because I was just looking at it last night. Let's see here. But honestly, these are really, really cheap 7-night cruises, though, that it's offering. Okay, so some of them are going to go to Ocean Key. But
so basically, you're just a liar. I'm just kidding.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, he is.
Take everything you hear, friends, with a grain of salt.
Grain of salt.
Yeah, don't believe anything.
But yeah, like here we have, December 6th, 7-night cruise under $500, which is the crazy part about this. But it goes to Nassau, Ocean Key, and Puerto Plata, which is very nice. Let's see, Ocean Key, Nassau, Puerto Plata. This one does San Juan, Puerto Plata, and Nassau. Cozumel, Grand Cayman, Falmouth, Nassau. So it's actually kind of going everywhere. Her Eastern Caribbeans aren't really that, I guess, that filling. But the Western Caribbeans are kind of, the 4 stops, which is, I think, a healthy amount for a 7-night cruise.
Yep.
But she seems to have pretty good itineraries. It's nothing overly different. I mean, it is cool that they're doing, instead of, Roatan, Cozumel, Costa Maya type thing, they're at least going to Falmouth's not my favorite, but at least they're doing something different. They're going to Grand Cayman as well, which I feel like not a lot of ships go to anymore.
No, they don't.
So,
well, that was funny because I sent the article like a couple days ago. What did it say? It said MSC told Grand Cayman basically, build a pier or we're not stopping here.
Yeah, I saw that. That's just like the vibe for MSC right now, is that they're just like, if you want us to keep coming here, we'll do it. Or like, we're gonna leave if you don't heed to our demands.
Basically.
But, I mean, that's just kind of the presence that they're putting in the industry right now, though. That's, you know, that's not only for the ports but also for the other cruise lines. I mean, Royal doesn't seem to be phased, but I feel like, you know, Carnival and Norwegian are kind of going, ooh, okay, you know.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if it weren't for all these crazy world-class ships coming here, I don't think we would be. I mean, the Icon class, of course, has something to do with it, but I don't think we'd see these 200,000-ton projects. Probably wouldn't be as, you know, as much pressure, you know, if there was others.
No, 100%.
But yeah, I mean, but with that, I mean, so we've got a 3 and 4, like a dedicated 3 or 4 night ship, you know, and now we're having a full 7-day ship, you know, so a Saturday and a Sunday, which is great. So, you know, I feel like that's going to be a huge, you know, boost to here as well, just that they're offering different itineraries too. I know Seashore does have those 7-night cruises, but they kind of work those in a weird fashion with the 3 and 4s. So having a dedicated 3 and 4 and then a 7-night ship is going to be great. But then in, what is it, 27, they've got a world class that's now going to come in to Port Canaveral, which is going to be the interesting part. And that's kind of where it gets a little crazy to think.
And
you know,
where are they going to knock that thing?
They don't have a spot to put it right now. So they've got to have something up their sleeve. Like, they legitimately have to have something up their sleeve because there is nowhere to put it.
They probably don't. They're probably just hoping Port Canaveral will do something to accommodate them. Because, you know, I feel like we would have heard of something by now.
Yeah, I mean, could she use Terminal 10? One would think, but no, because she's too big for it.
No way.
It's too big. It's too long. But I know that there is that cruise terminal that's in the works right now, or that marina where they're just sitting there waiting for the lease to expire. Great, but like, if they're gonna wait for the lease to expire on something like that, I mean, it's gonna take forever, and they're not gonna have that done in time. So
No, not at all.
You know, the locals aren't gonna like it, but I feel like either the port or MSC is about to just come in and like strong arm their way in and say, hey, we're just going to go ahead and buy you out, and just say, you know, is that happening? Probably not. But given how MSC is so aggressive, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried, you know, say, hey, you know, we're just going to give you X amount of money if you just go ahead and end the lease now, and we can go ahead and get started on this terminal.
Yeah.
I mean, but would they do like a joint venture with like what they did with 10 and partner with Norwegian, or do you think they'll monetize it just for themselves, or will Canaveral even allow that?
It's MSC. I think they're just throwing money at the wall, so I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted an exclusive.
Like an exclusive terminal.
Right. I do see in the chat they're actually shorter in length than the Seaside Evo ships, which is
Really?
interesting. I'm checking that now.
Look it up. Fact check.
The Seashore and Seascape are apparently the longest ones. So, yeah, wow, the world. I mean, I noticed that they were they looked pretty short and stumpy, but they were really, really tall, and I think that's where it all comes from. But yeah, 1,093 feet for the world class.
How many feet?
1,093.
Okay, I feel like Joy is longer than that.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'm gonna say I think Joy is like 1153.
Yeah. So I mean, okay. So yeah.
How long is Seaside and Seascape? How
just a
long?
hair over 1,100.
Oh,
so
okay.
maybe it can go to 10, but they did say like they're gonna put. They said they're gonna do Seashore and Grandiosa there at this point. So Like they're gonna have all three running there. So unless they move one of them to the Friday, Monday, which is probably the easiest option for them, that's probably what's going to happen is that they move the Seashore, if it's going to continue those 3 and 4 nights, to that Friday and Monday slot. And then, this world-class ship, whatever that name may be, is Sundays or Saturdays. No. I hope not. Okay. Or I don't think so. It's definitely not public.
Got it.
But it seems like they went back and forth for a while. I told that they went back to what they wanted, but who knows? So, but yeah, so they're going to maybe they'll just do that where they can do it at Cruise Terminal 10, but it's still a little narrow there, with that little spot. And of course, you got the Disney ship that can kind of start to stick its nose over that direction too.
It's fine. So, Disney Adventure won't be coming anytime soon. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. It'll be a tight fit, but they may be able to do it. But I didn't realize that it was shorter than the Seascape, though. That's interesting.
Try it in Virtual Sailor right now.
Try it in Virtual Sailor. But yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I mean, what if there did get a new? We do need the new terminal regardless. We need 2 terminals, but we'll get into that in a minute with these Royal Caribbean deployments. But would it be a terrible? Yeah, I said at the beginning we were going to work that in.
I definitely messed that. Sorry, people.
But I think I think Port Canaveral right now is falling behind right now because they can't keep up with the amount of business that's coming in.
Very true. I think that's all ports, honestly. I mean, we're going to get to a point where there's not enough spots for all these mega ships, and that these mega ships can only fit in X amount of ports. And, okay, fine, you're going to have all these smaller ships, but you got to work those guys in too. And let's say, Tampa, Galveston, Mobile, Jacksonville. I mean, where all these older, I say older, you're going to soon have Voyager class needing a spot. And you're going to have to send them to Egypt or something, and they're not going to have room here. Like, they're not going to be...
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be forced to go on mega ships, and not everybody wants mega ships.
You're completely right, though. I mean, it's going to get to that point. We've already seen a 10-ship day in Miami. There's a 9-ship day coming up. I mean, I think next season, I think it is, or maybe it's...
Well, they have 10
it's coming up soon. They do have 10 terminals, yes, but there are 10 ship days scheduled like pretty much every Saturday, starting, I think, as early as next year. And we're already getting 9s this year.
Civil engineer traffic guy inside of me says I would not want to be anywhere near Port Miami on that day.
No.
Ship spotting would be cool.
But, sure.
but that's about it.
7 a.m.
Yeah.
Before everybody wakes up.
We'll get that early bright line.
Ay, jeez.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, for sure. I know I think Symphony was like a 6 or a 7 ship day, and that was brutal getting on the Symphony. But the biggest issue with the Port of Miami right now is like, yeah, they've got 10 ship days and like it's gonna be filled up, but like honestly, it's so hard to fill 10 terminals in the first place. Miami's biggest problem right now. Yeah, it's a growing pain at this point. It's the road system. They've just got to figure out what to do because it like back when it was
basically as it was in the 80s.
Right. I mean,
we've added a few flyovers and overpasses, but other than that, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really. It's the same road system essentially, like you mentioned. Yeah, they extended it out further pretty much with more terminals, but it used to only be for maybe 5 ships on a busy day. Now it's 10. I mean, and not only was it the 4 or 5 ships, it was usually like the it was like the Carnival Victory and the Norwegian Sky. Now it's like we're getting Norwegian Luna, Icon of the Seas, Carnival Celebration, World America, Seascape. Like we're getting all of these on the same day sometimes, and it's just like these are a lot different than 3 ships that are like Conquest class. You know, it's
Yeah.
completely different. I mean, we're talking so maybe not a million people, but I mean probably a good few 100,000 easy, close to a million maybe. Because if you're looking at 6,000 per ship, almost roughly, not all of them are going to do six, but you know, I mean, you're looking at probably at least 700,000 guests, I would say, in a single day, ish. If I had to ballpark something like that.
What? Say that again?
700,000? No, wait, no.
In one day?
70,000.
70,000. Sorry, I'm stupid. I was adding a zero.
I was about to say, I don't know
adding-
what ships are coming into Miami these days, but
Yeah, it's
What's the one from like 6 or 7 years ago that was like 5 football fields long?
It was like a princess concept, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I was adding a zero. My bad. But yeah, 70 some. I mean, we could be looking close to 70 to 100,000 guests in a single day.
yeah, and Miami's biggest problem is the main highway interchange that takes you from 95 or 395 or whatever it is
All ripped up.
to the port is all under, and it's horribly under construction right now, and it's going to be for years.
Yeah, they're not going to finish that until at least 2030.
So yeah, so it's not even I mean, the port alone is horrible, you know, especially once you get down to A or to B, A and B. It goes from like 4 lanes to 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then it takes you 2 lanes either to A or to where MSC is.
Mm-hmm.
I want nothing to do with it for a few months until they figure
Yeah.
it out. And I don't think they will. They just don't have the infrastructure for it right now.
Yeah.
And they're going to find that out really quickly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I feel like they've already found out. I mean, there's been plenty of days where you have that minor inconvenience and it shuts down the tunnel and everything just gets thrown into the crapper.
They're cooked. Absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, you're cooked if that tunnel closes.
But yet the ships still get out on time right now. I don't know how
do.
they do it. I don't know how everyone's getting there.
The only time I've really ever seen them all leave late is that one time where Dimitri was on Seascape. And that was because none of the ships showed up until 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I guess no matter how bad the traffic is, don't worry. You'll get there. I think it helps that the check-in process has been such refined. You know, it's so easy now.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Carnival announce Celebrations moving to 3:30, or was that another ship?
No, it is 3:30 because our sailing. We got an email because our sailing is.
We got an email. I didn't receive an email. Did you receive an email because you booked it?
I don't know if I got
so.
an email, but I saw someone post it on Facebook.
Jerry did, and he's in the room next to us, so I'm assuming we're going to leave at the same time as Jerry does that day.
I hope so. I sure hope so.
Bring your
yeah,
plugs.
I guess going back to Canaveral though, I mean, I feel like I guess in this aspect of things, I feel like Canaveral is a little bit better, at least handling some of these. It's not great. It definitely isn't perfect, but I think it's a lot better than Miami is, you know, to handle stuff like that. But
it's just
it's gonna
because
get bad
Canaveral's
regardless.
terminals are spread out.
It is.
If they were all in a line like Miami, they'd have the same problem. They still have the same problems by 1 and 3 sometimes in the morning.
Mm-hmm. I feel like if they added that Terminal 2 where Victory Casino is, it would cause a little bit more problems. But at that point, again, just as you're creating the terminal
or a flyover just for you to get to 3 or 1.
Yeah, there needs to be some sort of stuff. I mean, Dimitri's the civil engineer here. He can be the one that does all that. But
you know, funny. You know, I didn't tell any of you this today, but I had my headphones off, and one of my the structural engineer guy that's on top of, you know, kind of oversees the group, he was talking about a Terminal 4 today. He's mentioned Canaveral and Tampa together, but he mentioned something Terminal 4, and I turned around and I didn't really hear the rest of the conversation. But he said something about waiting for a lease to end somewhere.
That's the marina. That's that new.
So he said a Terminal 4. And
maybe they're going to redo the whole road system over there too.
They might
know
have
what?
to anyways because it's so far back
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I'll be in charge. I'll make sure to F it up.
Yeah, if you're the ones in charge of that, then we've got no pressure. You know, we're going to be judging the entire time.
I'll ask him when I go in on Monday.
You should.
So stay tuned for next week.
Stay tuned for next week.
Suspense.
We'll find out. But yeah, I heard Terminal 4 was going to be the name of that terminal, though. That one back there, at least.
Yeah, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I still think they should kick out Victory Casino and make a Terminal 2 as well. But what's going to happen is that they're going to put all these... They're going to put 3 MSC ships in. MSC is going to want one terminal to themselves. I can guarantee it. You know, whether they're going to slap a giant logo on the side of it or not, they're going to want one to themselves so they don't have to share it with Norwegian. And they've kind of already kicked Norwegian out. But with all of the stuff that they just announced with Royal Caribbean today, I mean, it starts to even more start raising questions like where the heck are they going to start putting these ships? So I can guarantee we're going to see some sort of new terminal here soon. I mean, they have to. If they need, realistically, they need 2 terminals done by 2028 at the latest, which is a tall order to ask for, but it's either that or they're going to have to start turning away work, like a lot of work. So it's just how it goes.
Yeah, Canaveral needs to get moving on some stuff here.
The space stuff too. I mean, that's just the other issue.
That's causing half the problems. Is unfortunately like the thing. I mean, it's unique to Port Canaveral that we have all the space stuff, but it's creating such a problem because they want the port themselves, but it's also one of the busiest cruise ports in the entire world at this point. It's the fact that it's rivaling Miami at this point is really impressive.
I wouldn't go that far, but
it's rivaling Miami, but it's not close.
They got all the 3 and 4 day stuff, and they've got Utopia. That's 6,000 people every 3 and 4 days. Like what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Like, of course, Miami. I mean, sure they have what? Is one of the Oasis class down there or something? Doing 3s and 4s.
Allure was.
So
I think
it's
it's
like
Independence doing
we'll
it.
have one more.
Yeah. But like the thing with that, like I mean, yeah, Canaveral gets a lot of. I mean, there's always a ship there at this point now.
So do they have any
Tuesdays,
days where there aren't ships?
Wednesday, but now that we have Disney Treasure and Wish and Fantasy, now there is a ship every other Wednesday. So like there's weeks where it's literally all 7 days there's a ship. Because you'll get the Monday ships, the weekend ships. You'll get the New York ships on Tuesdays. Every other week you get Fantasy on a Wednesday. Thursday you get the Seashore and the Voyager. Friday you get those weekend ships again, and then Saturdays are always 6 ships now. It's always full those days. And then Sundays, of course, are now 5 ship days, which at this point, yeah, it's only a matter of time before we get 6 on Sundays too. So what's the only terminal that's open on Sundays? It's 5, I think. So I mean, we could stick something back at 5, right? Yeah,
Sure.
I think so. I think Prima is taking Terminal 5 next year on Sundays. So.
Okay, where we want to stick it.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
At this point, I don't think they can be picking and choosing,
Yeah, exactly. You're gonna take the open spot. So, but yeah, I mean, Canaveral needs new ships because, finally working into the conversation of Royal Caribbean, they just announced Harmony's coming back to Canaveral. She's gonna do short cruises for at least a period of time, but now we're gonna have 2 Oasis class, an Icon class, and 2 Voyager class. We're going to have 5 Royal Caribbean ships, soon to be 3 MSC ships. We're going to have Glory, Freedom, Mardi Gras, Vista, and Venezia. So we got 5 Carnival ships. You got 2 NCL ships that are seasonal.
And then Norwegian hasn't announced yet that far out, have they?
No, but I mean, as of right now, they got Prima and Joy. So at least the latest out, I think, is Prima and Joy, so they still have 2 seasonal ones. Unless Norwegian just pulls out because they're tired of MSC kicking them out of their own terminal.
They will not go out of Canaveral like that easy.
No,
not a chance.
They won't. Exactly, they won't. Now you got one. They got the Sky Princess coming in soon. Or no, it's Escape and Epic is going to replace them the following year. That's what it is. So you got the Escape and the Epic. You've got Princess that's coming in. You've got Celebrity coming in. Celebrity's got the Apex, and then Princess has got the. Yeah, they're right. That's right. They're doing the Getaway on 3 and 4 nights now too. So, it's. Yeah, I have no idea what they're gonna do, because, yeah, you got Celebrity now. You got Princess, and I think Princess has both Caribbean and Sky. Not this year, but the following year. So there's definitely like at least locked in like 8 ships on a single day, like already. I would imagine, which isn't going to work. I mean, we've already seen it firsthand.
Somebody better come up with a plan fast.
Right. Right. I mean, we've already seen it firsthand. Our Joy cruise got canceled because there wasn't enough dock space. It was going to be a 7-ship day, and so NCL got the boot. So our Joy cruise got canceled. We rebooked for the week beforehand, but still, like, it's just not gonna end well because there's too much that's trying to go there at once.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great business for them. I mean, it's not like they can. MSC probably came to them and said, "Hey, we want to put a world class there." I know Canaveral kind of asked for them to start doing that as well, but like they're like, "Hey, yeah, we're ready to do it. We don't have anywhere to put it," and they're like, "We'll make room." I mean, you get ships like the world class, you get ships like Oasis class ships. I'm like, you make room for stuff like that. You don't. You can't really turn away a ship like that because those are, millions of guests a year. When it comes to, a couple of those ships put together throughout the span of a whole year, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, it is.
But I guess to go a little bit more specifically, though, I mean, we have, so the 4 and 5 nights, we have Harmony returning, which is cool. I think because it was oddly announced that they're like, oh, Explorer is going to do the same thing. But I think what's going to happen is that Harmony only has these 4 and 5 nights for about a month or so. So it seems like they're going to take over for Explorer of the Seas that does the 4 and 5s, and then while it's in dry dock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible. And I see the chat here. Would they consider, or will they reconsider putting the terminal across from 5? So the issue with that is that wasn't Port Canaveral's doing to pull out of that. The state of Florida said you're not allowed to. So that's why that terminal is not happening, because that's why there was 7 ships booked for next year. For our Norwegian Joy cruise. That's why we got the boot, is because we were supposed to be at that new terminal. So unfortunately, the state of Florida says no to that, which is kind of the annoying part, is that it wasn't Canaveral. Canaveral needs it, but the state won't let them.
I get it, though. I get it. I get why Florida said no, but
because they should have just. Yeah,
what?
Whose side are you on here?
I'm on the cruise line side, but I understand why they said no. They gave the port all this money to build a cargo pier, and then the port was like, "Nah, we want to use it for cruising instead." And the state's like, "Well, that's not what we gave you the money for."
Okay,
so I get it.
I get it, but they hardly ever use it, or make it a multi-purpose thing. Say, hey, like we need this space. Like, if we only use this terminal on the weekends, you guys can do all the cargo stuff you need during the week. I mean, that's the easy solution.
That's not what's going to happen.
No.
Let's be for real here. Let's be for realsies.
Yeah, because they're going to need an additional terminal to be holding something during the week at that point. So it's a huge mess here. And
Hot mess express coming right at you.
Yeah. And then the lease has to expire on that marina that we're waiting on, which I think is, so at this point, I think the earliest is like 2027 that they may even be able to get going on that. So too late. Then, we could kick out Victory Casino, but for some reason they don't want to. For some reason, Canaveral is very high and mighty on, we want the biggest and best and most, crazy looking ships here in Port Canaveral, but we're going to have this odd looking casino ship with HVAC units covering the top of it. It's going to be this dinky little thing that nearly hits ships every weekend. We're going to want that here, though. Yeah, I've seen it first. They almost hit the seashore a couple weeks ago. And that thing is one, it's a hunk of junk. Two, like, it looks bad. It smells bad. Like, you smell that thing as it goes by. They can move it somewhere else within the port, or they can send it down to, I don't know, somewhere else. Long Beach. I mean, there's a little tiny port. I mean, go to Jacksonville. There's a little tiny port in what is it, Port St. Lucie or something like that?
They should do in Tampa Bay.
They should. Dude, you know how crazy that would be?
It would be perfect. You can go to St. Pete.
Yeah,
I was going to say it'd have to go out of St. Pete because
perfect.
From Tampa, it takes 2 hours to get out.
Yeah,
perfect. I think it would do great in St. Pete. So get that thing out of Canaveral.
Wait.
I agree.
Can you be 7 miles off a shore in the middle of the bay for the casino to be open?
Yeah, there you go. You just cruise around Tampa Bay.
Yeah, but the thing is is it 7 miles? Like, if you go park somewhere in the middle of the bay, is it 7 miles where you can be far away from?
I don't think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Do the casinos open on the Tampa ships as they go out?
Probably not.
It'd be open for what, a few minutes by the time they start getting closer to like the highway.
Right. I think it would just open up later on in the day.
Yeah, I'd imagine so.
But yeah, like there are places to put it. I mean, if they really tried, they could probably get 9 terminals maybe. But it would be very difficult, but they also need it. If we're filling up 9 ships in Port Canaveral and Port of Miami and 8 ship days in Fort Lauderdale, then yeah, that's when it's going to become a problem for just the industry in general. But I think we can at least get there eventually. I feel like that would be a 2030 plus problem. That's a problem that's not going to exist for another 10 years.
I mean, I think it's going to come down to who can monetize their own terminals.
Mm-hmm.
As much as
that way they get priorities.
Say, 3 is for Carnival, 1 is for Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, 5, 6, whatever.
Right.
I mean, who's this new one going to be for? You got limited space. You got 1 or 2 options. Who's going to buy those 1 or 2 options?
I can guarantee, because Canaveral they're like, we're going to let ourselves control this one. It's not going to be for anybody specific. They say that every time it comes up. I can guarantee MSC is going to come in with a fat wad of cash and say, that's ours. Whether you like it or not, that's ours. I can guarantee it's going to happen, because that's exactly what they did pretty much everywhere else. That's what they want. That's how they're going to continue to establish their dominance.
As much as MSC comes in and says, oh, this is going to be ours. I mean, how many ships are they realistically going to keep here? What, the New World class? What, a Seaside class and a Meraviglia class? Like, what else are they going to bring here? Lyrica? They're going to have 2 Seaside? I mean, like...
I have a coworker going on Lyrica next week.
I remember you saying that. But I mean, let's be, for real, how many ships are they really going to put here? Because their ships jump around pretty much.
They do. I could realistically see something like a Fantasia class, like the Divina size. I could see realistically a 4th ship in that in that class coming in. If MSC did have their 4th, their full terminal, I could see them adding a 4th ship.
Is that enticing enough,
what would you put it on? Short cruises, or would you do
Long
like
ones.
11s and 12s exotics?
11 and 12 exotics, absolutely. Like that's what you put, because you want your more popular and bigger ships. Your mega ships are going to do just your basics. You know, if you're going to offer something really unique, then you're going to put something smaller that's going to capture a different audience.
And will this new world class be on short cruises, or will it be
It's
on
sevens.
the long ones? Is it sevens? Somebody
Yeah,
already
it's
said that.
sevens. Absolutely. Yeah. They're not going to put it on. There's no way they would put it on 3s and 4s. I think Seashore is going to be that ship. I do think we need to switch out the Seashore. 1, because I've been on her already. I want something else. 2, because we've had her for, 2 years now. Give us a different Seaside class. I love having the Seaside class here, but either bring the Seaview or the Seascape, maybe even the Seaside, bring it back. I do think
Seaview is always either in Europe or Brazil.
Yeah.
Nothing in between.
Yeah, she's always been. I don't think she's
Seascape is a
ever come to the
possibility.
U.S.
She has not.
Right.
Um,
Seascape's going to Texas.
Seascape is a possibility, yeah, but it's going to Texas. It won't stay in Texas for too long.
It won't. I don't think that'll stay there very long. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Miravilia went there, went to
That
Texas,
would be
and
a
they brought it back.
possibility.
That would be actually pretty cool to see. I think Miravilia might
would
do
be.
really well in Texas over Seascape.
Yeah. And I mean, you can only go western there, so I mean,
Right. That too. Because I feel like actually that might be a better ship because it does get cold sometimes in the winters, whereas the Seascape and that Seaside class is a very warm weather prominent ship. It does have an indoor pool.
Texas,
You what?
I think you'd attest. Birds. Does it get cold in Texas?
Yeah, does it get cold in Texas? Who here in the chat?
Yeah,
is from
it just
Texas?
snowed there.
Yeah,
I was gonna
exactly.
say, I think
It just snowed there. So yes.
So yeah,
It also
gets cold.
snowed about 10 inches in the Florida Panhandle around the same time.
It gets
but
cold up here. It gets cold here in Tampa.
I can attest that
There's
the
80 degrees
Seashore
and
is.
Justin was saying it was cold today.
I can attest the Seashore is definitely a better ship in the warmth because it was like 50 degrees when I went on Seashore. I've never turned on the heat in the room before until I went on that ship. That was a weird feeling.
Yeah, Bird sent me a 7-day sailing on Utopia today for $2,100. I said, "Are you flipping crazy?"
That's more than Icon.
Yeah,
That's got to be a special
think we're doing
sailing.
like
They're
one.
not taking it off. Of
I think it's the Christmas or New Year sailing.
yeah,
might
it's like
be.
December.
That'd be cool. I'd love to do a week on that ship, though. It's probably my least favorite because of all the glass around that thing. It's my least favorite of the Oasis class, but it is one of the better. I think it is the best one on paper. I just don't like it because you literally can't see the water without looking at glass. But that's if that's my only complaint, then it's still a pretty good ship.
Sure.
But yeah. I think eventually it will go to 7s, but not anytime soon.
No.
We're going to get Oasis 7 and 8 first before we...
And that Wonder is staying on
Hypothetically,
3rd and
eighth.
4th because she's not leaving us. How surprised are we with that?
26, 27, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm not surprised.
She's due for dry dock in 27, though, but that's early in the year. So that summer she would go to Europe. So the next deployment for her would be where we find out if she does go over to Asia.
I don't think she will. There's too much demand in the Caribbean right now.
Yeah, my only thing is there's one most likely 2 more Oasis class coming. There's just too much here. Like, what are they
Who
going to
says
do?
they're going to have them here, though?
Right.
Like, I mean, they may just put it in New York or they may put it in Galveston. I mean, as much as we'd want them here, I mean, they could even be like a Miami ship like that.
The only thing is they're natural gas. But
by then, a lot more
Figure it out by then. We
Yeah.
can't have our Utopia and Harmony all sailing from Port Canaveral.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think Wonder is the most fit to be sent out though, because it still has a lot of the things from when it was supposed to go to Asia in the first place. That's why it's kind of the prime candidate, and it's not natural gas, so it can. It's not limited, I guess, in that aspect, but we'll know. Well, who knows? I feel like they're focusing that class on short cruises now, though.
I don't know if I'm the biggest fan of that.
I mean, it's nice because we can get on Oasis class ships more often, but at the same time,
But it's
I mean,
$800
I know that's
do that.
the scummy part about all this is that they're giving us more accessible Oasis class ships, but they're charging a lot more than they used to. I mean, when I was sailing on Independence those 3 times, I didn't pay ever more than like $400. Now a 3-night cruise on Utopia, Wonder, Oasis as part of this, going to 3 nights, they're all going to be almost $800 a person. So
That's insane.
you're going to be paying out the butt for these 3-night cruises, but you're also now limiting, because at this point we're going to have our 4th Icon class, or around this time, 3 and 4, but now it's going to be, if you want a 7-night cruise, you're going to have to pay even more for an Icon class, because that's all that they do on 3-night cruises now, or on 7-night cruises now, is only going to be Icons. It's where they can charge out the butt for weekend cruises because they're still the Oasis class, but if you want to do a 7-night cruise, you're going to have to do an Icon class, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I don't like that.
That is
It's all
That's
about the
hard.
money.
Adam,
It is all about the money. It's a for-profit company. Obviously, that's what they're going to do. They're going to please the stakeholders. I mean, that's
But eventually
financial.
they're
They're going
gonna
to alienate.
start blocking people out that
They're
don't
going
want
to
to do stuff
alienate.
like that.
Yeah, they're going to alienate like half of their audience.
A cruise enticing was that it's cheaper than doing a hotel, doing a resort. That's the
Right.
reason you want a cruise. It was because it's cheaper.
Right.
It's
I
an
have-
all-packaged thing, and now they're taking advantage of that, and that's ruining people's thing of going on a cruise.
Right, exactly. I mean, I went from, there was one point where I had 8 Royal Caribbean cruises booked, went on all 8 of them. Now I have 1, and that's because my parents are paying for it. Like, I'm not paying to go on a Royal Caribbean ship anymore. That is way too much money.
Yep.
It's just not, it's not worth it anymore. They're fantastic ships. Don't get me wrong. They're some of the best ships out there. But I don't think they're really worth that kind of price anymore. Or, well, yeah. Legend of the Seas going, $1,600 for an 8-night cruise. Good luck.
Okay, that's normal. That's fine.
$1,800 for an inside cabin?
$1,600. Oh,
That's
for an
not-
inside
Per person.
cabin?
We're talking per person here, bud. That's just, yeah. That's
I
way
would
too
say
much money.
even Norwegian, where they're $1,100, but that includes everything.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
happy
thing.
with that.
You can go on Norwegian for a week now and have your drinks, Wi-Fi, and specialty dining all included, and you're still going to go for less than what you're going to pay for a week on an Icon class, and that's soon going to be the only option for a 7-night.
Yeah.
So that's also where MSC is kind of coming in, which one thing I really like about MSC is that, one, their prices are so good. I didn't even pay $200 per person for that cruise on Seashore, but I feel like that was a one-off because I haven't seen it again. But you can still find stuff that's under $100 a night from them pretty consistently. Not only that, but they also give you the option with Norwegian. It's like, yeah, you're just going to pay for all that. But like with MSC, it's like, all right, yeah, here's the price. But here's also, if you want to include all that, here's the price as well. Like, it's, if you want to pay $300 for the 3-night cruise, cool. But if you want to pay $500, we'll include your drinks and Wi-Fi in there as well.
But the thing is that like
That I like.
as much as they have dynamic pricing, you can't say, okay, whenever it's a 7-day cruise, always add $220 and you get drinks and Wi-Fi included. Like it always changes per day, per ship, per time of year. Like it's not like a set thing. Like Royals drink package, like it fluctuates. Like each ship, the drink package on Icon is $100 a day, but on Voyager is $80 a day.
That's
What?
crazy.
Why? Am I going to be drinking different margaritas on Icon than I am going to be on Jewel of the Seas? Like,
I guess so.
is Joe Schmo going to be making it on one and Larry on doing it? Like what? Why?
Larry makes good one.
They do it for the shore excursions too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Maybe it's because there's more people and there's less availability the more people you have. So maybe I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of.
The water park pass. I mean, I used to love going to that water park in Coco Cay because it was usually about $70. Now it's especially if you're doing a 7-night cruise, it's usually about 100 to 150. But like on the 3-night cruises, when it was the Freedom class or the Independence, or I think on Mariner we paid like $30 for it. But like all those Freedom class ships, it was always like 75. But now when it's the Oasis class or if it's a 7-night cruise, it's at least 120 to 150. Like it's dynamic per ship, which is stupid, but at the same time, like, yeah, they're going to get more money out of some certain ships because they are certain, people pay more money to go on the Icon, so they're going to charge more money to do other things while they're there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Oh,
Royal Caribbean's just getting a little too out of hands with some of their prices. I mean, I feel like we talk about it like almost every week at this point, but there's a reason I went from 8 down to 1 as far as my number of cruises booked with them. Like I sailed on all 8 of those, but at the same time, like I've had no reason to go back with them at this point because the value isn't there anymore. I feel like with some of these ships. In the Oasis class on these 3-night cruises, it's great. I love the fact that we can do it, but that's such a big ship for 3 nights. You cannot do everything. I said the same thing coming off of Utopia and Oasis. Like 3 nights, you felt like you were just getting settled into something that size.
well, like cruises that short on such a new big ship like that, but that's just that like ruins the whole thing of cruising, having to unpack once and enjoy. Because by then you unpack and you're done enjoying and you're packing again.
Right. Well, the 3-night cruises, Justin and I never actually unpack our bags. We just leave our bags on the floor and just live out of there.
It's true. Yeah. Even on the 7-night.
We did do that on a 7-night, yeah.
I did do that, yeah. Sometimes I do, sometimes.
But who knows? But overall, I mean, I guess going back to MSC though, I mean, they've got I think MSC is getting very exciting to kind of watch over the next couple of years because again, now we've got all these world class coming out. They've got this project looming in the background that is going to be bigger than Icon of the Seas as well. So like, not only like I mean all the stuff that we talked about earlier with the potential of a new terminal, they're bringing a 3rd ship in with this world class, and then now there's this thing looming in the background that is kind of unofficial, but I mean, we would probably days or weeks away from this thing being confirmed and ordered. But that thing's sitting in the background and it's bigger than Icon, so I think their North America expansion is going crazy. The fact that they're now going from, just 1 ship a year pretty much in Miami to, 3 to 4 ships in Miami at a time and 2 to 3 in Port Canaveral too, plus all the other places. I think they've got Bellissima going to LA at one point. They've got Poesia going up to Alaska now. The Meraviglia up in New York.
When is Meraviglia going to Alaska or Bellissima going to Alaska?
I don't think it's confirmed. Poesia is the one that's going to Alaska, but I feel like if Poesia,
their toe dipping into the water and then they're gonna.
Yep. So what it seems like, at least to me, of course, I even like from people that tell me things, I haven't heard any of this from. This is me just kind of guessing and throwing stuff at the wall here. But because Bellissima is the one that's over on, not the West Coast, but it sits over in Asia during the summers, and actually it's still sitting over in Asia.
Dubai right now.
It's actually in Japan right now.
Oh, is it in Japan?
Yeah. Because Alexis might actually get to see it when she's over there in a couple weeks, which I'm very jealous of because that's pretty cool. But it's going to be docked over in Tokyo, which is pretty cool. But So it's over in Asia, but that makes it easy though, because that's what they're doing with Anthem. They're going to take it over to China or take it over to Alaska during the summertime. If Poesia does well, that's their indication. Like, all right, we can put something bigger. Let's put the Bellissima over there. And it's a good cold weather ship because it's not focused on all that outdoor space like the Seaside class is. The Seaside would not do well over there. It's not going to go over there, so that's why I pitched the Bellissima over anything else.
Well, the other thing is that, I mean, a lot of people say, oh, it's got to have a covered pool. Oh, it's got to have a covered pool.
It has one.
When I was there in Alaska, I was in the pool. I went on the water slides when we were ducking Ketchikan. That was probably the warmest day. And it was like high 60s, I'd say. And then we were in the hot tub, the other days. It's like, sure, an indoor pool would be nice, but that didn't stop people from swimming,
I'm pretty sure the Bellissima and Meraviglia have an indoor pool, though, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was saying. That's what I said. I'm just saying, it's not a necessity. A lot of people say, oh, it has to. But I'm like, these Breakaway Plus class ships are so successful out there, and they don't have.
They don't have
the observation lounge.
Right, but that's not really even a pool area, so it's like, I wouldn't even count that. It's where it's, they just don't.
You know what I mean?
Right,
exactly.
Sit and relax. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not a requirement. I mean, I always thought the Panorama would do well up there. I think now the Firenze would, because it does have the ability to have that.
More than a Spirit class up there, so.
They've had Splendor before, but Splendor actually did well. She does have an indoor pool up there, but.
Tomato.
Right. I mean, it's not really required. I mean, it does get cold, but it also stays relatively warm. I mean, for Florida, no, but I mean, for most parts of the country, I would say it's relatively warm. I mean, 70s is warm, for up there.
It got down into the 30s.
Ew.
I mean, you're not really doing anything at night,
Ooh. Oh, Quantum class. Actually, the Quantum class does have indoor pools. Just kidding. I was going to say, but yeah, they have a solarium, and I think there's a small indoor pool underneath the North Star, but that's not really the huge focus point of the whole pool deck, though. So I mean, yeah, we'll see. I'm kind of interested to see how Poesia does up there, because I think it definitely is their way of going, all right, let's see if we can do anything bigger and better up there. But yeah, so we've got that. We've got the ship. I think Bellissima is going to do LA, if I'm not mistaken, at least for a little bit. We've got Seascape going to Galveston. 3 to 4 ships in Miami, 3 to 4 here in Canaveral. I saw Meraviglia got taken off the list of going up to New York around the same time, at least later on. So I'm wondering if they're planning to replace it or something like that. But they do have a New York ship, at least for the time being. So yeah, it went from just the Seaside, 6-7-ish years ago to, almost 10 ships out of their fleet's going to be here in North America. So with that, but yeah, I guess, we are coming up on time. So was there any closing statements for any of that? I think Dimitri froze.
Oh yeah, he did.
Womp womp.
Hello.
He's a thinking man.
He's a thinking man. He's lost in thought.
He's thinking.
He's thinking all right.
But yeah, I guess with that, we're coming up on time though. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I'm really excited to see kind of the future of MSC, not only here in Port Canaveral, but here in the US as well. Their expansion's getting crazy here. There he is. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Thinker.
You were frozen for a minute. I was like,
you were.
No, you were frozen.
Oh,
you were. The funniest thing is you were like this.
Oh, really?
The whole time. We were like, he's a thinking boy.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, I hope this isn't ruined, because I could still see it on YouTube going. I'm like, oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm excited to see everything that's coming out of MSC here in the future, not only here in Port Canaveral, but and all the possibilities that come in with this world class coming up. And of course, Grain Deal. I'm excited to have more than just one single class here in Canaveral from MSC too. But yeah, I'm excited to see everything that comes here and everything else. But with that, thank you all for listening, watching, wherever you're at. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Bye.